Hello, everybody. Guess who has returned? Yeah, this video is definitely coming out a lot later than I would prefer it to. Uh, because life happens. But I did recover from my surgery successfully. I'm nice and healthy, and in this video, we're doing some winding, and it's going to be our first time using a tool called a swift. Those two skeins I'm pointing out there are what we're going to be winding today. Okay, I see. Okay. So if we were going to do this one first, then, okay. How do we do this one first? This one is, once again, Coffee Hut. Don't know, oh goodness, don't know if we can see that well. There's Coffee Hut right there. Now with any skein, you have to, of course, open it up. You have to unwind it from the lovely little bread twist thing that it is in order to be able to stretch it out on the Swift. This one is 218 yards, or what inches on it? This one doesn't say, so I'm gonna have to measure on my own account. Now, the little dowels that you're seeing me pull out and push into the furthest hole outwards, those little circles, those little holes represent, how wide / big your skein is. Unfortunately, the one I was using this time did not have a measurement, so I did not have one to go off of. But because of its size, I was able to safely assume that all the dowels need to be on the furthest one out. So you see me struggle as I proceed to take these stiff things out and try to replace them into their proper holes. Now on almost every skein or hank of yarn that is made like this, there will be tiny little threads or string of the same yarn that is keeping it together to maintain its ability to not essentially be tangled. So it keeps it together, it keeps it all nice and neat, and most importantly, whenever you're placing it on your Swift to wind it up, it keeps it separated, which is the best thing possible. Needless to say, after trying to wind a skein of this on my own without a Swift, is very good they have these strings in place, because what should take no more than maybe a few minutes to wind up a ball of yarn can very easily take about 3 to 4 hours of you untangling that same ball of yarn just because you did not take the proper amount of time and care to untie it, essentially, to just simply let it be loose, to use a Swift to stretch it out so that way there's tension. And so in this little moment, you're seeing me go through and remove all the strings that are holding the skein together. And that's a fun, satisfying process. Now, mind you, this is my first time doing this. There are a lot of things that I wish I would have known first before doing this. First off, tension is everything. In this video, you're going to see me wind this stuff, but I'm not going to have much tension. I will still be holding the yarn so I can wind the ball up, but I'm not holding proper tension for it to be able to run smoothly. And then later on, you're going to see the exact type of mayhem that I'm describing now as to what happens when you don't have the time and the patience and the care to just simply do it the right way. Now, that little piece right there that I was just showing off was actually an example of what some places will do, depending on where you're getting your yarn from, where they may just use another piece of the same yarn to tie it together for the sake of aesthetic and neatness. So that string I was holding up to the camera was a string of that yarn. It was not from that exact skein, but it was just an example of them using that. Now, we're going to get to the fun part here. It's called winding the yarn. Yes, the whole point of this video is to wind this lovely, lovely yarn with my lovely, lovely yarn winder and my lovely, lovely Swift. Now, as you see, the angle at which I'm holding the yarn as I'm winding it from the Swift is not a good angle, at least from where I'm sitting at. If I had a table that had the Swift on top of it, it would be a much better thing, and it would be a lot better, and even it would be okay if I was holding like this. But the key to the tension when using a Swift is to have it at the same level as a Swift. Now, that seems like common sense knowledge, but mind you, I've never had a Swift before, so this is my first time having to learn this knowledge and winding my yarn directly from a Swift. Now, it's going by super smooth, super cool, but we do have a couple hiccups along the way. In the future, when I wind my yarn, I now have it kind of at an angle to where my hand is closer to the actual Swift itself, to ensure perfect tension as well as ease of being able to have the yarn come off of it. Because also, due to the fact that I have it at this angle, a number of tangles occur over the course of my detangling session, not only with this yarn, but especially with my other skein of yarn that you will see it happen with later. Now, holding it at this angle, instead of it pulling in a vertical manner, not vertical, instead of it being horizontal and pulling from the swift in that nature, I'm holding it upward, so it's at a vertical angle. I'm pulling it up, meaning instead of the yarn just going straight across, it's going up, pulling the rest of the yarn up with it. And that's what results in tangles, because when the yarn is being pulled up, any yarn that may be connected to it or slightly interwoven with it will start coming up too, meaning it could come over the dowels, it can get further tangled up, it can cause a full stop and me having to physically untangle it myself. Basically, if you have a swift, avoid holding it up from the top. Try to keep it as level as possible when it comes to pulling your yarn. Or even if you have to have it on the floor like I am in my case, just try to have your arm downwards when pulling and using the tension rather than upwards, because it's better to pull downwards and have it come across horizontally than it is to pull it upwards vertically. And it actually kind of feels a little bit better on my arms. At least in my personal opinion, it does.
And now it's just a matter of unwrangling it from this little piece here. This piece here is tangled with it.
And after all that hard work, our coffee hut yarn is now wound into a beautiful cake. Look at how gorgeous she is.
Confess I loved you from the start. Oh, this one is from Tethered Intentions. And their shade is Tethered. Okay, so it's Tethered Intentions. I've already ripped it a little bit. This is Tethered Intentions. I've just already ripped it. And it was, and this is their colorway, Elysian or Elysian Fields. Really cute wool. There we go. I was trying to find that piece first, because that's quickly how something gets tangled and turns into a mess.
All right, so now for this angle, I am going to be having the swift be the main focus. So that way we can just get a better view as to how the swift is moving. It's pretty straightforward. It kind of just goes in a circle. But this is where things go bad. So with this yarn specifically, it's there's nothing wrong with the yarn itself. It's not the yarn's fault. It is my fault. But this is what I mean by the whole thing of tension and making sure that the yarn is being pulled horizontally and not vertically, because this is a good example of what happens when you do that. Another thing too, when using a swift, try to stretch your yarn out over the wooden dowels or along the swift as much as you possibly can. So you see how mine's kind of bunched up for the most part on there? Yeah, no, you should try to switch. You should try to stretch your yarn as much as possible to where it's essentially covering the dowels almost completely. Because with it being bunched like this, it also makes it a lot more difficult to just simply just wind the yarn up. You see, this one has a lot of stops. There's a lot of stops over the course of these next few clips because of the fact that it's all bunched up and I don't have it properly stretched out. Just saying for future reference, from doing this now a couple of times off camera, the more stretched out you have it, the easier it will be to wind. And it makes life so easy. It makes winding it so much more fun. It's a lovely, lovely process. I love it so much. I love winding yarn now that I know how to do it better. But whenever I did this the first time, dear Lordy Jesus, I was going through it. Needless to say, there's a good thing that this thing exists, because obviously, humans have been collecting, materials to be able to make clothing for a long time. Whoever decided to use, animal fur or whatever the case may be in order to make a yarn-like material was very smart to eventually come up with this style of making sure that the yarn can be wound up, because frankly, you can't wind up yarn. It's not that you can't wind it up, but you can't wind it up either if it's not on a swift. It's basically impossible. You will go through it. You will wish that you just basically started over completely. You'll wish that you never had did it. But yeah, it's not a fun process when you're having to deal with this. Now, I will say though, it's amazing though for anybody who invests in one. Having a Swift is amazing. It kind of opens up your options too, because a lot of natural materials, a lot of natural material based yarns come in a Hank style of skein. And now we are back with interjecting. Um, Things get very chaotic very quickly. You see how smooth this process is going to where my Swift is going a million miles a minute while I'm winding this yarn. Yeah, this beautiful moment does not last too much longer from here, because in a moment this turns into the most tangled mess that I have ever dealt with almost in my whole life. That's a lie. I've dealt with a lot more. But on a Swift, and especially with yarn like this, I want you to keep in mind, wool yarn is not really cheap. It can be pricey. So I was very angry.
Can we not do that, please?
Yeah, there's a reason why you don't see me show the finished product of that one, because it did get done. It did get wound up beautifully even. But my God, I was so angry. My goodness. I don't even have words for it. Needless to say, I was very frustrated. I was not saying some really nice things at this very moment. So I chose instead to cut all that out, because frankly, frustration on me is either the most calming, mellow, laid back thing you could see on me, or it is the most hyper vigilant, just rapid fire going back and forth and just almost feeling like I'm going to explode type of thing that you could see. And I don't get frustrated too easily, so that says a lot. Anyway, so now this yarn here that I'm winding is I don't know I don't know what this yarn is. I don't have any reference, because at my local yarn store there is a yarn bin. It's basically a bin that has a bunch of yarns that have been donated, that if you do not want them no more, or like if a person does not want them anymore, they can just drop them off there. And it also means that you can come in, and if you want to take a skein out of there or take a couple, then you can. It's just completely up to you. So sometimes, anytime I go in there, I usually go through it just to check out to see what new things have been placed into it. Sometimes people will have knitting hooks. Some people will have, whole bags of yarn. Some will be like tote bags worth of crochet/knitting materials. But nonetheless, it can change every now and again. And at my first time doing this, I decided to pick this one up. I wanted to make myself a little friend, and that's what I bought the little bees for. In the beginning of the video, whenever I'm showing the spread of the yarn that I have bought, there's a tiny little baggie off to the side. Yeah, those are eyeballs. I will gladly show a picture of him right now. His name is Cupid. He's a cute little cutie pie. I named him after the song Cupid by Jack Stauber. It's a lovely song. It might be a little bit heart-wrenching, but it's a lovely song nonetheless. But this same thing goes for this yarn I'm winding now. It's just a random yarn ball I grabbed out there. I was thinking, that is interesting. Don't know what I'm going to make with it, but I'm going to get it. And so I took it. But yeah, so winding, now this is easy, because the yarn that I'm winding in these clips here, they were just wrapped up into regular balls. So it was easier for me, because all I had to do necessarily was just grab the ball and toss it somewhere, and then just unravel as the tension, as it got closer and closer to the ball itself, just unravel the ball of yarn basically, and then wind it into a much more manageable cake, which is my favorite style of yarn to have. I love cakes. They're so easy little center pull, and if you're lucky and you buy it from the store, there won't be any factory knots, because factory knots suck. I don't care what anybody tells you, factory knots suck. At least in my opinion. I feel like factory knots are cool. Don't get me wrong, they're cool. I just don't like them, because if I'm making a project that I'm either trying to sell or just making for myself, and I want to keep it nice and neat, it's very hard to do so whenever there's factory knots. Now these two yarns here are from Premier. They're the Parfait Chunky Fruits line. So in this video, I had got the banana and the watermelon one, and they're very cute. I actually made a lock tam with the watermelon one, and partial of the banana one was used to make a scrunchie for my friend's graduation. Hey, so in this clip here, I'm just going to be working on a ruffle hat, of which I'm glad to say I have finished. I will gladly include a clip of that in the end here today. But I am going to go completely off topic. and talk about this song that I heard recently that I think is really, really nice. There's a song called Die Your Daughter by Susanna Joff or Joffe. It's spelled Joffe, but it's a very nice song. I like it. It's very calming. It's overall a really relaxing listen to. It's a really relaxing song to listen to. But I just wanted to talk about it for a moment because I feel like it's such a song. There's so many layers to it. There's so many levels to it, depending on what you have experienced in life or what you've seen or whatever the case may be. That's going to be heavily factoring in how you interpret this song, because the song, the way I can best interpret it is this song, to me at least, it sounds like a person who is, how do I put it? I guess the best way I can describe it is that personally, it sounds like a person who is going through a turbulent type of situation with a parent, whether it be their mother or father. Regardless, with this parent, their relationship seems to be somewhat turbulent, or at least the person themselves who is narrating the song is going through some motions where they feel like as if something needs to change, but they want to establish something. In this song, there's multiple things that kind of hint that maybe either the narrator themselves or like they need to get their stuff together, or maybe even the parent needs to get it together and improve something, but the narrator still has a fond look at their parent. It's very clear to see that they do love and genuinely care about their parent a lot, like a child would. But in the song, there is several, it repeats over and over, "I will die your daughter." And it seems like, to me, the best way I can interpret this song is that, of course, this person has this turbulent situation going on with their parent, maybe, but they want to establish and make sure that there's a relationship that they still have with that parent. And most importantly, they want to let that parent know and make that parent understand that no matter what, they're still going to always be their daughter. They're still going to be here till the very end. No matter what, they're going to die their daughter. They're going to die letting it be known that I am your daughter. Yeah, I am your child. I will always be right here. Because even whether it be the narrator themselves are going through things and they feel like they're messing up their relationship, or maybe the parent themselves have done some things that cause the relationship to be rocky, there is a clear establishment of, I'm not going anywhere. I am your child, and this is how things are going to continue to be. And I will never renounce you as a parent, and I will never not identify as your child whenever the situation comes up to be. And I feel like it's a very touching song, because depending on where it is, you can also interpret that maybe that this is just a situation where the narrator themselves, they have a good relationship with their parent, a very good one at that, and their parent is getting older. They mention the fact that their parent is getting older in this song, and maybe it could be a situation of, I have a good relationship with my parent, and I know they're getting older because time is passing. Nobody is on this earth forever. And they're just establishing that with their parent, that I'm going to be right here. And no matter what, I will always love you. And I'm glad that you were my parent. And I feel like that's a very touching song, because when it comes to the topic of relationships between child and parent, there are plenty of different topics you can go with it. There's plenty of good and bad that come with the relationship. And there's plenty of routes that the relationship can take. And as a result, just like, we as humans do when it comes to relationships, there's many songs and art pieces and literature. There's many things that are influenced. Even our behaviors are influenced by our relationship with our parents. And I feel like this song perfectly kind of drives in that feeling of, I care about you and I'm always going to be right here. Because obviously the song itself, at least for me, the song made me sad because of a couple personal reasons. But the thing is, though, is that it's very sweet at the same time. I feel like it's very sweet, but it can also be very heartbreaking that they're saying over and over that I will die your daughter, because you don't know what she means by it. Susanna in the song could be talking about a very, very good relationship. And also another thing, too, is that the song itself could be talking about the loss of a parent. And it could be going into that kind of topic where maybe the parent
maybe they lost their parent, maybe their parent got older and passed by natural causes. No matter what the case may be, it can be talking about the loss of a parent. Now, even though that parent's not present no more, the narrator is still going to always be their daughter. She is always going to be their child still. She's always going to be their daughter, no matter whether if they're present on this earth or not, they're always going to be there. But yeah, I just want to take a moment to talk about that because I really love the song. It's really pretty. It is on repeat for me currently because I like it so much, and the choices that Susanna Joff had made in the song and how she directed? I don't know. How she made the song is really nice. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about. I just think it's a really nice song, and all of you should go listen to it. Maybe I'll include it in one of my videos one day. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, so now we are approaching the end of the video. I'd like to start off by saying thank you so much for your patience. For those of you who have subscribed to me, I think I might label this 10 subscriber special because we are officially at 10 subscribers. Whoop, whoop. Yes, sir. That's 10 whole people. That's cool. I'm glad that you guys actually want to tune in and actually see, you know, the weird stuff I got going on. But yeah, so I have some more videos in the works. I am fully recovered from tonsillectomy surgery. Your girl can breathe. Your girl can swallow. Your girl is doing amazing now. It was a tough 2 weeks, but it was worth every second of it. I'm telling you, I never knew what a good night's rest was up until I got that surgery. It's such a life-changing surgery. But anyway, I have a couple videos ideas, you know, a couple things coming out here and there. And I hope that you guys are willing to tune in to see that. Now, we're going to end this video with some affirmations, reassurance, things of that nature. So, just know, first off, you are loved, you are cared for. Even if somebody's not outright saying it, just believe me when I tell you, somebody out there cares about you. Somebody would not be the same if you were not here. And if nobody has told you today that you are worth it and that you are amazing, then let me be the one to tell it to you. You are worth it. You are amazing. Everything that you want in life, you are going to get. You're going to get the tools to get it. All you got to do is use them. And if you don't have the tools right now, then you'll find them at some point. I believe in you. I can't wait to see how we continue this journey over here on this channel. And I can't wait for you guys to come up with me while this journey continues. Needless to say, I am very appreciative of everybody who supports me, and I appreciate you guys' patience. I wish I could have been working a little bit more, but honestly, I just never have surgeried before, if I'm completely honest. But yeah, I can't wait to see what the next video is going to be consisting of. I got a couple little ideas here and there. We're going to see what we do. But nonetheless, I appreciate you for tuning in. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.